Amazing facts about flamingos. There is more to a flamingo than its bright pink feathers. Get to know these delightfully unusual birds with 10 fun facts, some of which may surprise you. Flamingo nests are made of mud. A flamingo's nest looks like a mini mud volcano, with room for one large egg. Flamingos are monogamous, and mom and dad are team players. Both help to build the nest and incubate the egg. Flamingo chicks hatch with white-gray, downy feathers and straight bills. It takes several years for them to acquire their signature pink color and hook-shaped bills. The Smithsonian's National Zoo has been home to flamingos since around its founding more than 130 years ago. Bird housekeepers have worked to breed flamingos since the early 90s and have welcomed more than 120 chicks over the years. Flamingos get their pink color from their food. Flamingos really are what they eat. Many plants produce natural red, yellow or orange pigments, called carotenoids. Carotenoids give carrots their orange color or turn ripe tomatoes red. They are also found in the microscopic algae that brine shrimp eat. As a flamingo dines on algae and brine shrimp, its body metabolizes the pigments, turning its feathers pink. Flamingos are filter feeders and turn their heads upside down to eat. The term filter feeder may conjure images of baleen whales or oyster reefs, but flamingos are filter feeders too. They eat algae, small seeds, tiny crustaceans, like brine shrimp, fly larvae, and other plants and animals that live in shallow waters. When it's time to eat, a flamingo will place its head upside down in the water with its bill pointed at its feet. It then sweeps its head side to side, using its tongue to pump water in and out of its bill. Cone-like plates along the edge of the bill create a filter for water to rush out, while trapping food inside. In warm climates, flamingos keep cool by standing in water. Bird housekeepers apply this natural thermoregulation to keep the zoo's flock warm in the winter, too. The flamingo pool is heated to 70 degrees Fahrenheit to keep the birds comfortable, even when it's snowing. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. A group of crows is called a murder, and a group of geese is called a gaggle. So, what is a group of flamingos called? A flamboyance. Other collective nouns for flamingos include stand, colony and pat. The zoo's historic bird house may be closed for renovations, but keepers continue to care for more than 60 Caribbean flamingos, also called American flamingos, behind the scenes. In the wild, flamingos sometimes gather by the thousands. Scientists estimate that there are more than 200,000 Caribbean flamingos in the wild, with populations in the Bahamas and Cuba, Mexico, and the Southern Caribbean, as well as a small group of about 400 to 500 in the Galapagos Islands. There are 6 flamingo species. In addition to Caribbean flamingos, there are lesser, greater, James's or Puna, Chilean and Andean flamingos. Greater flamingos are found in parts of Africa, Asia, and Europe. They are the largest and tallest flamingo species. Chilean, Andean, and James's flamingos are found only in South America. Andean flamingos are the rarest of the 6 species, with fewer than 40,000 birds. Lesser flamingos are found in parts of Africa and southern Asia. They are the smallest flamingos and the most abundant. There are more than 2 million lesser flamingos brightening skies and shores with their pink plumage. Don't let your eyes deceive you, a flamingo's knees don't bend backward. Flamingo legs actually bend just like human legs. What looks like a flamingo's knee is really its ankle joint. A flamingo's knees are located higher up the legs, hidden by the body and feathers. Confused? Think of a flamingo as standing on tiptoe. When the leg bends, it's the ankle you see hinging. Some flamingos live in extreme environments. Flamingos are typically found in shallow saltwater or brackish waters, where saltwater and freshwater mix. But some flamingo species breed and raise their young in extremely salty bodies of water, called alkaline or soda lakes. The high concentration of carbonate salts in these lakes is so corrosive that it can burn the skin, making the water uninhabitable for most animals. Researchers are still uncovering the unique aspects of a flamingo's physiology, like tough leg skin, that help it survive such harsh waters. The high salt can still be deadly for some flamingo chicks if salt rings build up on their legs, making it impossible for them to walk. Flamingo parents feed their chicks a liquid they secrete, called crop milk. A flamingo's milk is produced in its crop, part of its throat, and then brought up through its mouth. It may sound icky, but a flamingo's crop milk is chock full of healthy proteins and fats. Both parents can produce crop milk to feed a flamingo chick until it is old enough to eat on its own. Yes, flamingos can fly. You may be used to seeing flamingos gathered in large groups on the ground, but they also take flight. Some flamingos will travel to breed, migrate to a new body of water as seasons change, or move to warmer, lower altitude areas for the winter. If flamingos are traveling long distances, they often go by night. Flamingos can sleep standing on one leg. Flamingos can stand on one foot for long periods of time, even long enough to fall asleep. But, why do they perform this balancing act? Research suggests that flamingos use more muscle power when standing on two legs, so standing on one leg may be less tiring. Scientists also believe that a one-legged stance may help flamingos stay warm. Birds lose body heat through their limbs. By standing on one leg and tucking the other under their belly, flamingos can limit the amount of heat that escapes through their legs and feet. The word flamingo comes from the Spanish and Latin word flamenco, meaning fire, referring to those birds that get fiery colored feathers. Not all do. Pink, orange, or red feathers are caused by carotene in their food. Carotene is the same pigment that makes tomatoes red and carrots orange. A wild flamingo's diet includes shrimp, plankton, algae, and crustaceans. Flamingo chicks are born gray or white with fluffier plumage to keep them warm. It can take up to 3 years to achieve mature pink, orange, or red plumage. The greater flamingo is the largest flamingo species and can measure up to 5 feet tall when standing erect with its head raised. It only weighs about 8 pounds. The lesser flamingo is the smallest, reaching 3 feet tall and typically 3 to 6 pounds. An adult flamingo's legs can be 30 to 50 inches long, longer than its entire body. Flamingos often stand on one leg to preserve body heat, tucking the other leg into their warm plumage. They will alternate legs to regulate their body temperature. The backward bending knee of a flamingo's leg is the bird's ankle. The bird's knee is close to the body and not visible through the bird's plumage. Flamingos are strong but rare swimmers and powerful flyers. Many flamingos migrate or regularly fly between the best food sources and nesting grounds. Feeding habits. Flamingos eat for several hours a day, holding their bent bills upside down while feeding. They skim and filter out food from the water, straining out tiny bits of algae, plant material, insects, brine shrimp, and other foods that make up their omnivorous diet. After hatching, parent flamingos feed their chicks exclusively crop milk for 5 to 12 days. It is a regurgitated high-fat, high-protein substance produced in the parent's digestive system. A flamingo chick's bill is small and straight. After a few months, their growing bills will develop a distinctive break curve for mainly eating on their own. Flock behavior. A flock of flamingos is called a stand, colony, regiment, or flamboyance, applying to a flock of more than 2 birds. All flamingos belong to the Phoenicopteridae family. Flamingos are gregarious birds that prefer larger flocks. A typical flock is several dozen birds, but flocks of up to 1 million have been recorded. Large flocks are a safety measure against predators, offer stable population growth, and breeding success. A flamingo's top speed can be as high as 35 miles per hour. They may appear clumsy in flight because of their long necks and dangling legs, making them seem wobbly. Flamingos are monogamous birds, laying only a single egg each year, typically not laying a replacement egg if something happens to it. Disruption from predators or a natural disaster can take a colony several years to rebound from. Flamingos have a lifespan of 20 to 30 years in the wild. With veterinary care, a regular diet, and fewer predatory threats, flamingos can live up to 50 years in captivity. The Andean flamingo is the most threatened of all flamingo species due to the loss of its habitat. Other significant threats to flamingos in the wild include predators, illegal poaching for their feathers, and hunting for their eggs or tongues as a delicacy. Dear friends, thank you all for subscribing. Thank you for supporting me. Love you.